Okay, we're going to try this stream again, since Twitch on my phone just told me that the stream only lasted 15 seconds, even though OBS thought it was going. So today we're going back to a open historical map topic. And we're going to look at two different subjects in open historical map. One of them is the inspector. And the inspector is kind of an extension of something that's in OpenStreetMap. In OpenStreetMap, the inspector is primarily used by people who are actually working on the map to see what the data underneath the representations are. And in OpenHistoricalMap, it's got some cool extensions. So in OHM, basically over on the right panel, you have a cursor arrow with a little question mark at the bottom of these. Click on that and go into Query Features. There we go, Query Features. And I'm going to come over in here and click on a building. This is Harmony Mill Building 3. And I'm going to click on it. And it gives me a list of things it found here. And what I'm going to do, because I know what I'm going to find, is I'm going to click on Harmony. Well, if I mouse over Building, Harmony Building 3, I see a piece of the end of the building. If I mouse over Manufacture, Harmony Mill Building 3, I get the whole building, and I'll get into why that is a little bit, but we want to look at the whole building. So we'll click on this, and a bunch of stuff pops up. It includes a historic image. It includes a section of the Wikipedia article. It has a link to Wikidata, and then we have a line, and then underneath the line we have the actual details about the object. These are the actual tags in the database, and these tags actually will drive what shows up here, and we're going to talk about how that is. So tag building is manufacture. Well, that's the kind of building it is, so that's just standard tagging. It's a textile mill. So for the image 1, and you see that there's a pointer to an image in Wikimedia Commons. So it's actually larger than that, and you can see that it was actually cropped in order to fit in that space. When I pick an image out of Wikimedia Commons, I can pick a bigger one, knowing that it'll get cropped in order to fit that space, and it will pop out and give you a bigger picture. Despite the black and white, this picture actually is from 1969. It's a public domain because it was taken by a National Park Service employee on doing their job. We have image 1 date when the picture was taken. The license is public domain, like I said, National Park Service. And then we copy the caption out of Wikimedia Commons. We could also write up a caption of our own. It goes in the OHM database. The name is Harmony Mill Building 3. The actual start date of the building is 1872. We're using a relation for this because we have a couple different ways that glue together in order to make the building. And there's a Wikidata tag, and Wikidata is another project in Wikispace to collect data. And in Wikidata we see that it's considered a building. They give the name in some languages, but not only in one, really. We have a different image out of Wikimedia Commons and various other data about the object, including its location as latitude, longitude. Know that there's one little issue here, which is that Harmony Mills, at its biggest extent, is more than a couple buildings. We come to Wikimedia data, and what we actually have here is a picture of Building 3, the same one we're looking at here. So you see I have tagged the picture of Building 3 onto Building 3 itself. I have not done any of this tagging on other buildings, and we're going to go back. Look at Building 1. So we don't have the image, we don't have any of that data. I will be adding that data at a certain point, but one of the things I discovered looking at Wikimedia Commons is that they only have pictures of Building 3 because it's the most photogenic. Since 3 of the 4 buildings in the complex still exist, I'm just going to drive over and take pictures of the other 2. And I guess I'm going to have to do some rummaging around looking to see if I can find a picture of Building 2, which burned down back in the 90s. And then from a construction point of view, let me look at layers. This is an alternate way of getting at the inspector. Turn on map data, and now it's showing us all of the actual data in the database. So there is the 3 sides of Building 3. So in OpenStreetMap, open historic terms, this is a way. So it has a series of, so it's part of a relation which binds pieces together, and it has a set of nodes. And we can come up here, and this is the north end. And this is basically the idea here by doing this with relations, is that we can reflect the part that the north end of this building was built earlier, and this was a second phase of the building. Right at the moment, the inspector doesn't recognize the time on the time slider as well as we would like, because it would be cool if it somehow marked the entities down here as being in the time selected or not in the time selected. And I opened a ticket up in GitHub for that, and we will gradually get this over time. I'm going to turn off map data here. And I'll just, for the hell of it, point out that one of the mysteries I'm trying to sort out is the specific sequence by which the Erie Canal was moved up the hill to become the enlarged Erie Canal, because there are statements about when the canal was moved and why it was moved relating to the construction of Building 1 that they don't really line up the way I think they should, so that's a research problem I've got right now. So anyway, that's a quick introduction to the inspector and the things you can do by linking out to imagery and various things in the Wikipedia world, and increase the general coolness of things. But like I said, the Wikidata tag that I linked to is for the whole site and not for the specific building. I don't think that's a huge problem, but I think Wikidata may need a little work because they're claiming Harmony Mills is a building, and it's not. It's a complex, and I got to figure out what procedure needs to be used to clean that up, because I'm not really active in wiki space, and I will have to ask someone who is, and I know who that's going to be. So that'll do it for inspector topics today. The other thing I want to talk about is map warping. And I've been doing demos of Map Warper for a while now, repeatedly. It's a good tool. I use it heavily. There's a new one coming. It's kind of in its space where it is usable but doesn't really have all its features yet. You kind of have to know how it works because it's not currently forgiving to people who are trying to learn it. And I only have been learning it for about 4 days now, so I'm starting to get a handle on it. But I thought I'd give a background. The first piece of this is that there has been a development of what they call an IIIF, maybe triple IF, I don't know, presentation manifest. And here on the Library of Congress, we see a IIF manifest that describes all of the imagery in the Sanborn insurance map. And this is a Sanborn insurance map of North Albany in 1909, roughly. Okay, it says 1908 here. I have not worked with this one before. At some point I was going to. But these are public domain maps that are of considerable value when you're trying to figure this stuff out. And so what you do is you take this manifest, because that's a way to get a handle on the entire set, and we are looking at a set of 94 maps here. And then you go to this link, which is on Observable HQ, to @Bert Span All Maps Tile Server. He's developing this. He's over in the Netherlands. I don't know him personally, but Jeff Meyer, who is also one of the advisory board guys in OpenHistoricalMap, has been working with him. So we paste the URL into this box and click Submit. Okay, so we get an error. And the error is not really a crisis, because the error is about the fact that nobody has georeferenced this set. So we just click on the All Maps Editor link here when we see that error. This is actually by design in the interface. And we get the whole collection of all of the maps. So this saves us right from the start all of the upload process that goes with doing this stuff in MapWarper. So now we've clicked on the first detailed panel. We do the tabs in sequence. It doesn't say that anywhere, but in fact that's clearly what they intend. And the idea here is that we're going to apply a mask. So as is usual with the Sanborn maps, note that the mask button is the dropping a point is always live. That's one of the properties of this one, is that this stuff is always live. So this is a relatively complicated mask, but this sort of thing comes up when you're dealing with Sanborn plates. And just like in MapWarper, we double click on the last dot. So now we got a mask. Now we can move on to georeference. These have to be done in the correct order, and you see over here it's live, and as long as we're doing mouse moves, it's not actually going to drop a point. And right this instant, I think the thing I want to do is drop a point by accident. And there it is. I've dropped a point by accident, and that's not really one I want. If I hit on this little button down here in the bottom center of this panel, I see the point I dropped in a trash can and I can make it go away. And I can always get rid of a point using that method. So we're looking at Washington, elk, eagle. So elk and eagle's pretty good. I know where elk and eagle are. So there we've got a good reference point. Elk and hawk. Two reference points. So hawk and spruce as an intersection no longer exists. Sheridan and hawk no longer exists. Sheridan and eagle no longer exists. That's a very steep hill through there, and they got tired, I guess, of trying to deal with all that. So then we've got the big open area in front of City Hall here. So this is clearly pine. And this has all disappeared into a park. I don't want that dropped there. Let's go delete 3. I don't know what's going on here. It looks like 2 needs to be done over. Okay. Okay, trash this, go back because the buttons got out of sync. So we do the mask over again. As I was saying, I mean, this tool has potential, but I've been playing with it for a couple of days and it's just a good demo, but a little bit buggy. That's what happens when you're doing software of this kind. So I'm not overly upset because, you know, there but for the grace of God. So back here, we're in the area around Lafayette Park. So hawk and elk. Eagle and elk. Hawk and Washington will do. So that's 3. 3 is enough. So we're going to click on results. Results page coming soon. So it says you can view this in all maps viewer. So okay, we'll open link in new tab. So now we can see the overlay on Albany. And it's done the rectification. It's dropped it in what is in theory the right place. I'm interested in the alignment here of Sheridan and this is where one of the things I think they could do some work on is allowing us to iteratively add points. Although what points I would add is a little bit of a challenge here, given how much the neighborhood has changed with the complete disappearance of the I'm also wondering what the base map is here. That says New York State Department, and that's the education building, so I don't know who thinks that's the State Department. The original image just lets us see that as opposed to what's warped. But basically this is not bad. So what are the limitations? Well, one of them, of course, is that you need to know to go back to the observable link. In other words, there's not a path from this page to go get a tile URL that you can use. So we need that observable link. Then we need the manifest again. Submit it. And we were working on page 2. So now that we are dealing with page 2, it's showing us the cropped map overlaid on this modern map. And I'm looking at it and thinking that, yeah, I could probably improve some of these reference points and make this better. But now, if we scroll down, this is the XYZ URL, which Jossam and ID both understand. So we're taking a moment to launch Jossam here, so I can demonstrate fetching that tile. So we need to get down to the correct part of Albany. This includes the right neighborhood. There's the outline of the old British fort. So Jossam preferences. We need to get down to the imagery. Add a TMS URL. And for some reason this always comes up below the box. 1908. Albany Sanborn. And there you have it. And more or less aligned Sanborn map tile. So what are the limitations of this tool right now? Well, one of them is the obviously gaps in the UI. You kind of have to know things where you have to go to do them. The weakness in being able to iteratively alter your reference points and see how you improve or disimprove the UI. And while obviously this is incredibly valuable in manipulating large sets of images, where Library of Congress, for example, has provided a complete set of Sanborn maps, doesn't really seem to have all the pieces in place yet to do the mosaics, although I am under the impression that that's coming. So, you know, there's massive potential here. And I am working on making suggestions. Another suggestion I made, one of the things, if we come over here and look at the editor, is that for georeferencing, there are times when having a different image underneath as you georeference, having something like a map box image set, or being able to reference the index map for a Sanborn set, or to see the mosaic that you've been building around a particular plate, helps with georeferencing. And right now there's not really a way to do that. I mean, this almost looks like a layers icon up here, but if you click on it, what you actually get is a list of all the keyboard shortcuts. So it's pretty cool. It has enormous potential, and it's just not quite soup yet. So in any case, if you have seen mention of all maps anywhere, because I know Jeff has been talking about it, he's pretty excited. This is what actually is there right now. And like I say, a lot of potential, not quite soup yet. So I look forward to this actually becoming a useful tool, because when it's done, it's going to be really great. And that's where we're going to wrap this one up today. A short one, but I've covered what I wanted to cover. So until next time.